Hello and welcome to Mad Fans with the podcast. We introduced ourselves last week, but just real quick again, I'm Alexis.
I'm James.
And I'm Scott.
All right, so this week we're going to be talking about the Crimson Horror. Last Saturday's new episode.
And that is horror, not whore.
Horror. It's my friend's fault, not mine. I'll I'll have to tell you some of the interesting things she had to say about that episode. Um, Nightmare in Silver, the Neil Gaiman episode that's coming up next week, and also all the amazing 50th and not so amazing 50th anniversary news that has come out over the past week or so.
Yes. Yes, we're really
Okay.
excited. So, where should we start?
Let's start with the Crimson Horror. Um, so I'm just gonna start off, if you don't mind, with
Oh,
my
go
friend's
right ahead.
reaction to this episode. She has a basic understanding of the show, and she's starting to watch it. And I explained to her, oh, there's this girl, she keeps dying, and all the backstory she needed to. She enjoyed it for the most part. According to her, the little alien bug at the end was cute with its beady little eyes.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was cute. I thought it was creepy as fuck.
It was cute.
It was creepy looking.
I was like, ew.
I felt
Yeah.
worse in my life, and I felt like I needed to take a shower after I saw that.
Especially since she was like putting food down her cleavage to feed it. I was like, ew.
Not just food, but I think it was either sugar or salt because she spilled the salt container or whatever. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the
I
salt.
think it was
She spilled
salt.
the salt and then she took a pinch of the salt and she put it down her shirt. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What's the woman doing? Is she salting her tits or something?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too, like the first time I watched it. Also, that the doctor is a man skank, according to her.
Oh God. Three
Oh god.
times.
Yes, he kissed
Three
her.
Yeah.
damn
He kissed,
times.
yeah.
My God, it's
And then he
crazy.
kissed a lesbian, and it's like, and he deserved to get slapped for that one, in case anybody was wondering.
He shouldn't be kissing people anyway, personally.
No,
He shouldn't.
Matt Smith, if you're hearing this, keep your lips to yourself. There we go. Just putting that word out there
I
for Matt Smith, just in
although
case he was listening.
And
I
then there was also the really uncomfortable boner joke, and I was like, that did anybody call it, or was it just my dirty mind, or
uh
What was it?
yeah, refresh me.
What in what context?
the the part where they're the people coming after him, and Jenny, gets off her Victorian overdress, and she's in like that little like cat suit looking thing,
Uh huh.
and the sonic screwdriver is like kind of pointing up, and then he like kind of checks, like kind of like lifts up, or he points it up, I can't remember, and then he kind of like checks himself and like puts it down, and it kind of focuses on it, and it's kind of obvious, and I'm just like,
That part.
ew.
Yeah, I didn't
I
catch that the
forget
first
that
time
part.
around. Then
I didn't
again, I
catch
was
it the
Okay,
half
second
maybe
asleep
time
when I
around.
first watched the episode, so yeah.
maybe I'm just a pervert, I don't know.
I
Well, who knows? Who
I
knows?
it
I
it's
personally
completely possible.
I personally thought the episode was very, very confusing.
It was.
It
Not to
was
say
like
it kept my interest, but I had no idea what was going on most of the time. And why she
hmm,
was trying to take over that's still beyond me is why she was trying to take over the world with her little poison thing.
yeah, I don't get it.
One of the things that really it didn't make sense to me was that it was leading up to something. We didn't quite know what it was. And then when the episode ended, we were like, okay, what's happening? Because usually what he's been doing is he's been going back in time to figure out what is Clara. Um, he had mentioned something about going to London, and they ended up in wherever they were.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. They ended up in Yorkshire, and then they're going back to London, where Clara was first first found by the doctor, or not first found, but first her second meeting with the doctor, but the first time he realized there was something wrong with her. So he's going back to London, and we don't quite know why. And then at the end of the
Yeah.
episode, he takes her back home without explaining why they didn't go back to London. And then those two kids at the end, they found Clara's pictures all over the internet. They found pictures of her in Victorian garb, pictures of her in the 1970s. How the hell did they know she was there? Why were they looking for Clara's pictures in those eras?
And
And
how
Well,
did
it
they have a
just
picture of her in Victorian era London anyway?
I don't
exact
know. That's weird. It did explain though. One of the kids said we saw a picture in class or in a library, which I'm assuming they were doing some sort of like history project or something. Oh, and we saw this person that looked like you. And I was like, okay, that makes sense.
uh-huh. But
But like,
how do they find all the other pictures though? That's what I'm saying.
yeah, like
They
that
found the one of
doesn't
her
make sense to
the
me.
Hyde episode. They found her there. They found more of her in Victorian London. They found the picture of Clara, the housemaid in the Christmas episode. It doesn't make sense at all.
Mm.
Maybe it's
And
leading up to something. Who knows?
why is their first conclusion like time travel? Like that's not the thing
Well,
like most.
they thought
I
that
don't
maybe
know.
she was going through time because they found all the pictures, and then she basically admitted it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Well, then, as we've seen in previews for the Nightmare in Silver, um, that apparently somehow the Doctor goes back to where they picked up Clara to begin with, and takes those two kids along to some abandoned amusement park where there's Cybermen.
Cybermen. Actually
Is
cool
it going
Cybermen,
cool
hopefully.
looking Cybermen? But I'm hoping it's not another Cybermen filler episode before the name of the Doctor.
Mm.
And speaking of the Crimson Horror, did anyone? I know you guys did. Catch the Fifth Doctor reference to
I
Tegan.
after Scott
Yes.
explained it to me because I just wasn't. Bl-
Basically, what happened is he said, I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to get an Australian back to Heathrow Airport. And I don't remember what he says after that. And then he says, Braveheart, Clara, which was a reference to Tegan Javanka
mm.
Yes.
from the Fourth and Fifth Doctor era.
Yes, which
Yeah.
is absolutely awesome. Um, he uh, he does that, and then oh god, he's bringing out a lot more classic stuff. They're
It's
starting to do
awesome.
throwbacks to classic stuff, but I'm really worried that they're going to like rape it to death and
Yeah. Once they
over
get through all the
overdo
Doctors,
it.
be done with it. But
Yes.
but I'm
Well,
really
Yeah.
looking forward. I'm hoping there's a Sixth Doctor reference, and hopefully there's a Seventh Doctor reference in Nightmare in Silver, so that way they can get 8 and 9 out of the way in the name of the Doctor, and then that'll lead into the 50th anniversary where the 10th and the 11th Doctor are adventuring together.
yes.
Mm.
Here's some spoilers that I read online for the next season. Apparently, and close your ears, listeners, if you don't want to hear this next part. Clara has signed on to be the Doctor's companion for the next season.
Oh yeah, I
Clara
heard
will
that
be
Uh,
too.
returning.
I like
Clara will be
Clara,
returning
but
as the Doctor or the Doctor's companion.
I'm getting very tired of Moffat's his you know the most amazing woman in the universe as a companion sort of thing. I would much
Yeah,
rather see regular people as a companion
Hmm.
than someone extraordinarily spectacular like we had Rose, you
yeah,
had Donna, you had Amy, and now you have Clara,
yeah.
all being super fantastic. The only exception would be Martha, who ended up going to Unit, but
I
Yeah.
I
mean,
don't know.
we get the point that everyone is extraordinary in the universe in their own special little way, but they're starting to make it such a big deal that it's kind of like,
It
okay, well,
loses its like touch.
That's
yes.
why I've been going back and watching more classic Who, personally.
That I mean, even then, I mean, the classic Doctor, the third Doctor, even, I mean, one of the most unemotional Doctors to date, I would say, and even he, he makes your companions feel special, but not to the point where they're just like everybody's special.
And of
Ugh.
course, Joe Grant.
Then there's Joe Grant. She's like the mom of the Doctor Who world. And then there's Joe. Oh, what
And
a
I know you don't agree with me, but Melanie.
oh, Melanie.
No, I
Well,
don't like Melanie.
as we talked about in the last one, I happen to enjoy Melanie. I think
Ex-
she's kind of a little bit underrated for her, but still, I mean, I like her.
I'm sure I know Bonnie Langford's a fantastic actress, but I did not like her in the role of Melanie. No.
Yeah.
So,
Well, hey,
And
it's
the
it's still
damn
okay.
carrot juice.
You're entitled to your opinion, even though it's wrong.
yo, fight,
Well, it's
fight,
it's
fight.
it's better than well, yeah. We'll skip over that, and I'll
No,
tell you later about
anyway.
that, James. But I think you know where I'm
Oh,
going with this.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
okay. So is there anything? Let's see. What else about the episode? I want. This has become a petition online, and I think everybody should sign it. That Strax and Vastra and Jenny need their own spin-off because I would watch that.
After I saw the Crimson
Yeah.
Horror, I strongly disagree
Really,
because
really.
I was so looking forward to seeing back Strax and Vastra and Jenny to come back, and I thought their performance was very underdone. They left me wanting more, and that wasn't a good thing.
I did like
I
Strax's joke right before the awful part with Thomas. Thomas.
Oh
The
yes.
His
Tom Tom.
oh god, that
I
what
was
was the
like,
point in that scene?
oh, Tom Tom
See,
GPS
that
joke.
just brings
LOL.
that just brings back the point that I think Doctor Who's become too mainstream for its own good.
And that
I
was a
think
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
Go
I was
ahead.
just saying it was a throwaway line, and I know you mentioned this last week. You should not have throwaway lines.
Well, I mean, even then, I mean, the writers take time to write in those lines. I mean, there should be no throwaway lines at all. Each line means something. However, this I will agree that they did it for a cheap laugh.
They did.
It was the rubber chicken of the Doctor
You
Who
know,
episode.
and
And
I think it would have been fine if there would have been like a scene later on that would have incorporated him a little bit better. But the
yes,
fact that that was his only role was to make a quick joke at GPS systems. Eh.
it was a cheap laugh. That's all it was.
Yep.
Mm.
So let's
I
see.
Yeah.
I know I like them, and I was like looking forward to. This is just my personal opinion. I was like, I think it was more the writing, not them, because I thought their performances were fine, like as actors and
Oh,
them, and
I'm not saying
yeah,
anything
no,
about their performances. I'm just saying,
no,
it
I
was
know
a
what you
cheap
meant.
laugh. It was done in poor taste. I mean, even me, coming from somebody who absolutely adores jokes with poor taste, I thought that it was a joke that should not have been included, and it was
Well,
Yeah,
something
that
that
the
should
the
never
s-
be done again.
the sad thing is, I
that
know Mark Gatiss is a great writer, and he's done scripts for Doctor Who before, and I tend to like his stuff, but that just and this whole episode, I wasn't too fond of him. Like I said, it kept me entertained, but it's not something I would watch a third time.
yeah,
No,
I wasn't sold,
no,
and
and
it's
that's
frustrating knowing that they're a good writer. It's like you almost want to shake them and just be like, you can do better.
Very true.
yes. I compared this Doctor Who episode to a something it's like butter that's been spread too thin over bread. It's losing its validity. It's losing its believability. And for me, that was the magic of watching, like the Eccleston episodes, the Tennant episodes, and early Matt Smith episodes, was that they still retained their believability even though it was a science fiction television show. And
Yeah,
now it's getting past that place where it's something that originally I could step back and say, yeah, that's totally believable. I can believe everything that's coming out of their mouth. Now it's turning more into what did they just say? What are they doing? I don't get it. I don't believe this. I don't believe it at all. You
what's
know.
going on? I'm lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Exactly.
like it's becoming like, this is a terrible comparison, like the actual show Lost, where it's like that show that should have ended a while ago. We need to stop doing this
Yeah.
or figure out what you're doing.
I never did
Yes.
watch that show, but if you
I
like
didn't. I drifted in and out of it, which probably didn't help.
if you like
But
believable sci-fi series, I just started watching this one the other day. I'm only 2 episodes in. Continuum. It's on Netflix. It is
Okay.
very believable in their technology. I thought they did really well. Like I said, I've only seen 2 episodes, so I don't know how the rest of it is, but the first 2 episodes are great.
all right.
Okay.
So
That's
Just a
definitely
random
something
plug.
to check out.
So on a scale, because we're rating them now, because I just decided this literally 2 seconds ago.
Yay for
We're
spontaneity.
rating, yeah, we're rating on a scale of 1 to 10. What would you give this?
10 being the lowest.
I
10
would say
being the
10 being the
highest.
highest.
10
Oh,
being
I'm
the
sorry.
highest, one
Yeah,
being the lowest.
I'm a little bit dyslexic in the head. Um, I would give it a 4.
That high, huh?
Mm,
Uh,
okay.
a 4, mainly because it was still a good episode. There was still a lot of great acting moments in there. There was still a lot of great conflict and intensity. It just it for me it didn't do anything for me. It kind of sucked.
I'm gonna give it a 5 just because I enjoyed everybody's performances so much. And fun fact, one of those things I just found out a few hours ago. Um, the lady who played Mrs. Gillyflower, who was, the evil cackling
Oh
witch,
yes,
Nun
yes,
thing.
and her daughter they're actually mother and daughter
yes. They are
acting
Oh,
duo.
I did
daughter
not
So
know that.
their
Personally,
chemistry worked perfectly, but going on. Going on.
personally, I'm gonna lowball it here. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. The only thing that kept me watching the episode was the fact that it was still at least partly entertaining. I wasn't a fan of the writing because I know Mark Gatiss can do better. It was confusing. The Doctor kissed
Yes.
not one, not two, but three people, and just the fact that the whole plot was kind of glazed over. But
It didn't
Yeah.
do anything for me. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm like I said, 2 out of 10.
All right. So moving on, Nightmare in Silver. How are we all feeling about this?
I'm
Okay.
looking
Well,
forward to it. Go ahead,
yeah,
James.
So am
I
I.
am too. I I'm worried that it's going to be a filler episode, like most Cyberman episodes in the new season have been. I'm I'm excited, but I'm incredibly nervous it's going to be a big letdown. I'm thinking how this is going to work out, and I hope to God I'm right that once this season gets done and over with, we can look back on the season, rewatch it, and say, "Damn it, I know why they did that now. I know why they're doing that." And I hope it all comes together at the end
I
with
hope
Clara.
so.
Hope so because it didn't really have that great of an effect last year with the whole leaving of the ponds. But
Yes.
um, let's see. I do have a slight spoiler for it. So if you're a spoiler phobe, close your ears for a few minutes or a few seconds, whatever. That some of the classic doctors will make an appearance. Now that doesn't mean that the actors are actually going to be there, but I think it's going to be
Hmm.
similar to the first 11th Doctor episode where they show them in stock footage. But I've heard that most, if not all, of the classic Doctors will make an appearance next episode. So
And the
the Nightmare in
Nightmare in
Silver.
Silver.
Hmm.
You know, the Nightmare in Silver thing, the one thing that's interested me from all the trailers that I've seen about it is the Doctor has this silver apparatus on his face. And for those of you who are into audio adventures and have listened to the audio adventure Spare Parts, it was come to a revelation that the Doctor was the basis for the Cyberman design. That they took the Doctor's biological setup and they created what were now or what are now the modern Cyberman. And I'm kind of wondering if they're going to harken back to Spare Parts at all and make the revelation that the Doctor has some sort of connection with the Cyberman, or if the Doctor's going to fall back on his laurels and be like, oh, well, the Cyberman, these are the last of the Cyberman, but I can't just kill them because they're just the last of this, and blah, 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 blah. So
He did that with the
that's
Time
my
Lords.
yeah. Well, he did it with the Time Lords, but I don't want him to do that guilty thing where he looks back and says, "Oh, well, I can't really, kill them now, Just like, just kill
Mm.
him. Kill
Yeah,
him."
What?
well, and this
Just
with the redesign, I mean, all the Cybermen in this universe are gone. I mean, they had Cybermen come over from the alternate reality. How are they going to bring back the Cybermen this way?
I don't
I
know.
I'm excited.
What it had said for the episode is that it's set like way, way in the future, and there was a war between humans and Cybermen. They thought apparently that they had gotten rid of all of the Cybermen, but Obviously, they didn't.
Obviously.
um, so
Plot
I'm
point.
curious to see how that would work out. But apparently, and this is what I have heard, the silver apparatus is supposed to, I don't know, basically be a controlled sort of mechanism to use him to manipulate, I guess,
That
whoever he's with, which would
that
be
would
interesting.
that would be interesting. I wonder if it's going to be anything like he has to control the Cyberman to continue them, and then the Cyberman starts, like, I don't know, trying to take over his mind, and then he decides he goes crazy or something like that. Here's the interesting thing: out of all the posters I've seen of the upcoming episode, anyone that involves the Doctor has two of them, has two 11th Doctors in it, and I don't know if
I
that's
noticed that too, and I was like,
or
that's
I don't know if it's going to be for, if they did it for a reason. I don't know if it's just to make it seem interesting, but I've
I'm
seen in all the posters, each one has two different 11th Doctors in
I'm sure it's for a reason that it doesn't seem random to
it.
me at least.
Nothing is random with Moffat.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's the fact right there.
that's debatable.
Well, yeah, good point.
Uh, okay, no, somebody brought this up. I saw this. I still want to know what happened to the ducks in the duck pond. This is completely
you,
off
yeah, you're
topic.
never gonna find that out. I don't think.
No, but
What
I'm
Well,
ducks?
actually, when River comes back, because the ducks in the duck pond were from the library, correct?
oh, I think so. I'd have to.
Yeah, and River's gonna be coming
Yeah,
back, and it is a post-library River,
yeah. That's.
so
Oh,
we may get
oops.
an
Sorry for
explanation.
not warning the people
But
who didn't
yeah,
want it spoiled. But
oh well.
oh well.
Whoops. Sorry.
Somebody just fainted because you guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, so that's actually a perfect segue. And what I know we've talked about this before, but just one more time. What do we think of having River back for the name of the doctor? Do we want it? Do we not?
She
I
was
guess
gonna
it
have to
depends.
come back no matter what,
Um,
because she knew the doctor's name and she whispered it to him. So she was at the Fields of Transit.
Yeah.
We know that, so she has to come back for it.
well,
So
I am nervous. I mean, I don't if it's going to be a post-library river, I hope to God it isn't I don't know. I hope it isn't going to be horrible and horribly done or anything like that.
if
I'm
it's
worried. Yeah.
one of the things that could work, and because I know she's her consciousness is supposed to be stored somewhere else and stuff, and it's a post-library River. But, these are just my brain theories. What if River had gone to the library before, left, and then went back again, like on a scouting mission or something, and then they went there permanently? I don't know if that would work or even make sense in the story, and I need to watch Silence in the Library again before
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel
Uh
like
What?
it's gonna be important. I don't know what
I
I
I
maybe
have a
like
spoiler.
rewatching Silence in the Library before watching the final episode to see
that
kind of that nice segue. Is that what you're talking about?
yes.
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
Let's see.
Because
I do
otherwise
have
I feel like it's not gonna make sense to me.
a spoiler, and this may explain part of your two doctors in the posters. So spoiler phobes.
Wait a minute, is this the interview with Neil Gaiman that
No,
you're seeing? Okay, go ahead.
Did you
no,
just say
this
Neil
Yeah, I
Diamond?
said Gaiman. I'm
Neil
sorry. That
Diamond.
sounds,
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
Gaiman,
no, but
relative of
Oh,
Diamond and Hyman. Oh boy,
this is a spoiler for Nightmare in Silver, so close your ears. Matt Smith ends up playing four different characters.
really?
whoa.
Yes.
What?
That would be
Yeah.
interesting.
That's crazy. Well,
Um,
here's the thing. This is not a crazy thing to happen because if we look back at Tom Baker's episodes, which off the top of my head, Meglos, Tom Baker played himself. He played the Doctor, but he played Meglos as the Doctor, so he played opposite himself as a villain.
Yeah.
And that's just the only thing I could think of off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
this is not the first time the Doctor has had to play opposite himself as a villain.
But he's going to be playing 4 separate. So he's going to be playing opposite himself 3
4 different
times.
times, which will
But
be fun.
That
go
I
ahead.
feel like Matt Smith is a good actor, so it could be pulled off as long as, the story's good. So I have complete faith in Neil Gaiman. If, he needs 4 Matt Smiths or 10 or whatever, I think they should give it to him.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I just have to share this with you all because I just stumbled across it on Tumblr. It's the classic Whovian problems at tumblr.com. Number
Oh,
217.
I've seen that.
Number 217, desperately hoping that the audios and novels are canon because of what happened to your favorite characters in them. Yeah, that's some of our favorite Whovian problems right there. But yeah,
Hmm.
I know, right?
I have
About
Oh.
I have another couple of spoilers here. So close your ears again. Um, Torchwood Alien makes an appearance,
ooh,
and an alien from the Sarah
Huh.
Jane Adventures makes an appearance.
ooh,
And there are
Interesting.
other returning monsters and aliens and doctors, is what this spoiler is saying.
in this upcoming episode.
In The Nightmare in Silver.
I'm kind
It
of
sounds like a
wondering
lot
right now.
going on.
Yeah,
I'm kind
Wow.
of
this should
wondering right
be.
now.
I just really hope it doesn't feel rushed. That's the
Well,
problem I've been having with a lot of the past episodes. They felt
in
rushed.
Hmm.
an hour-long episode, there's a lot they can do, but then again, there's a lot that they can screw up too.
Yes, and well, and it's only
Yeah.
40. It's only 40 some minutes of actual on-air screen time. So
Yes.
So that's really, when you think
yeah,
about it, not a lot. Because I remember watching, the last episode for the first time and just looking at the time, and it was enjoyable, and I'd be like, we're already like most of the way done. When is everything gonna get explained?
Yeah, exactly.
Just
And maybe I feel like a lot of these episodes there's it could be a lead in to maybe doing future episodes where they go back and look at, like, if they decide to go back and look at the Crimson Horror, for example, and the Doctor forgets that he was going to London and then goes back and decides to go to London, and he explores what's going on there or something like that after the episode or something like that. I mean, I feel like even though these episodes are kind of disappointing, they could be easily picked up the next season, if that makes sense, in some
yeah.
sort of weird
hmm.
way.
I see what you're saying. I don't expect that to be something that, happens just
Yeah,
because of Moffat's just general attitude towards everything.
yeah.
He just seems like the type of person who would despise doing that.
In Nightmare in Silver, it seems like from all the pictures I'm seeing, everyone is wearing those silver headpieces, and one guy is looks like he's getting partially upgraded. I don't know who he is, but he's got like
Hmm.
about a quarter of a Cyberman head on. So
Well, another thing is we never really see the insides of the Cyberman. We never really see what's going on inside of them except if they explode, or like in the Pandorica episode where the helmet decides to take on a life of its own and become a huge clamp thing. So that could be another thing, is that we can see, like, we saw the inside of the Ice Warrior. Now let's see the inside of a Cyberman.
That could be cool. Yeah.
mm,
Well,
hmm,
I mean,
I
who knows? I mean, you never know.
I'd be up for that. I'm
I
excited for this episode, I think, more than, everything else that's coming out this year maybe.
whoa. Another
Well, okay.
slight another slight spoiler here. Um, one, the Time Lords invented chess, and two, from the picture I am looking at right now, it looks like the Doctor is playing chess opposite himself.
That would
Mm,
be interesting.
Which, yeah, and I'll. It's pretty far down. It's kind of a weird looking picture, but here is a link. It's a
yeah,
Tumblr. It's pretty far down, but ooh, 3D.
that could definitely tie into, having him play multiple people. I'm not sure how I could
I
understand
mean,
two
This
working, but
Well, I mean, if
I
you
don't
look
know.
at it, I mean, it goes back to the Cyberman thing. I mean, the Cyberman could have created multiples of the Doctor,
Mhm.
and they could be like an android thing, and that could
That
be
could
something going on.
definitely work. It should it'd be interesting. All
Yes.
right. Moving on from the Nightmare in Silver, if nobody else has anything they want to add. The 50th anniversary spoilers. So,
Yes. I really disappointed
um,
this month hearing that none of the classic Doctors are returning.
it is a disappointment, and I kind
Very.
of go back and forth on how to feel about it. At first, I was like, "That's messed up," and you know, insert curse word here.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Well, you can say it. I mean, we've already said the
yeah,
Yeah.
I yeah. I was like, it's idiotic. I felt like it's very short, sighted because somebody pointed out, okay, yeah, they can't play, most of them probably can't play their respective doctors, and that's
Yeah.
They can explain
understandable.
that
But
away,
what
though.
they
They
could,
did.
and something, oh, go on.
Oh, I was going to say they did have at one point in time they did explain why the Doctor had aged so tragically, why the Fifth Doctor had aged so much, and coming to meet the 10th Doctor. Um, then they kind of dismiss it as not being something that's actual, canon, and it's really
Yeah,
upsetting. Not a lot of people will accept that theory, and even Stephen Moffat said, I'm the writer of the show. I can, the thing about Doctor Who is that you can give fans anything, and with a little bit of glitz and glitter, you can practically make it work, which is awesome. But you know what would be funny is I would like to see Sabalon Glitz and Melanie Bush return. I don't know. Maybe that's just like a personal fantasy of mine.
Not Melanie, at least. But at least we do know that the scarf makes an appearance.
yes, we do know that.
And I'm hoping that at least one piece of every doctor's outfit makes a return. I'm hoping that's how they at least say, "Hey, we're looking back at all the doctors," and
They have to do something like that in some
and
way to
I don't know if it was
show
you,
their respect to
James.
everybody.
I don't know if it was you, James, who said this, but I think someone said that it's possible that they have a bunch of the doctor's stuff stored at Unit in case he needs it again.
Yes, I
So it
I
would be
had
nice.
mentioned that at
Yeah.
I was talking to John Cho
Yeah,
at Constellation about it, that I thought it would be fun to see, even if they don't bring back the classic Doctors, which now they're not, to have the Doctor go back to Unit and decide that he needs help, and have Unit say, "Well, Doctor, we've been waiting for this moment for so long. We have all of your stuff stored in an underground place." And he goes back and he sees all of the underground storage of all the classic Who props, like the Who mobile,
Ooh.
Bessie, the
that would be
all
so
of
cool.
the sonic screwdrivers that have been misplaced, gadgets that the Doctor has built and never worked on again, stuff like that.
Huh.
One thing that the lady that's wearing the Fourth Doctor scarf, I'm seeing a picture. This might be a spoiler. Is she's holding a rainbow umbrella? I don't know if that is a harken back to the Sixth Doctor or not.
Or the Fourth Doctor.
Did the Fourth Doctor have a rainbow umbrella?
He did indeed. He did in Stones of
Hmm.
Blood, and it did appear on his coat rack at one point in time.
I have not seen Stones of Blood, so that may be why I did not know that.
Oh, okay.
It's a fantastic Key to Time episode. It's one of my favorites actually. It's
If
like
it's a Key to Time one, I've probably seen it then and just don't remember.
like the stones of Stonehenge come to life and they're blood sucking stones, and it's really weird, but it works.
I have
It
not seen it.
works, and it's unexplainable how it works, but it works.
I thought
It's
I'd seen all of the Key
unexplainable.
to Time. Missing one.
Huh. Um, this is a bit off topic for that, but I was on Tumblr and I saw this link to like this gossip blog, and who knows how reputable this is, so please, people, don't think I'm spewing the gospel. Otherwise, I have a feeling people will be coming after me with pitchforks in the middle of the night. But there was a link to this gossip blog, and apparently, people who have or a person, I should say, who had
Yeah.
worked like at a low level at the BBC, like under Moffat, was who apparently had left, and I'll see if I can find the link again and share it with you guys. Apparently, it had been most of this stuff like hasn't been planned out as well as we thought it has. So hate to rain on your parade, anybody who's listening.
No.
Just to bring down the mood.
Yeah, I know. Well, now I'm
Yeah.
depressed.
No, I mean, who knows? This could be just one mad person, but apparently Moffat, had plans and, had it all planned out in his head for like the ninth Doctor to come back. And we obviously know that's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
we know John Hurt is coming back, and there was talk about him, and I know we talked about this a little bit at one point last week about him being like a Time War doctor, and it's like that wasn't even intentional. It was supposed to be nine, and the fact that apparently Eccleston and Moffat disagreed strongly,
Yeah.
so to speak, and apparently also, and I hope this is true because Moffat's attitude towards everything has been kind of frustrating me. Matt Smith got angry at him about how he was treating, the previous doctors, and I'm assuming, his contact with the actors and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's just
so
oh,
one of
go
the
on.
things is that that harkening back to the Time War Doctor Eccleston being the Time War Doctor, I realized this. Eccleston was not the Time War Doctor. He was the repercussions of what had happened to the Time War. I don't know if we had mentioned this earlier, but um, I in reading or listening to somebody talking about it, the Time War, having the Time Lords fight against the Daleks, the Time Lords, they have the uncanny ability to regenerate. Well, they were being shot by the Daleks and then regenerating and then getting back out on the field and fighting some more. Well, they were
Mhm.
regenerating while they were fighting the Daleks. And the Eighth Doctor, um, he did not regenerate until before he met Rose. So the Time War was over. He had escaped. Probably he was in his TARDIS like something that the beginning of Matt Smith's tenure. He was in his TARDIS when he regenerated, or he had walked into his TARDIS post regeneration, and the first Eccleston episode, he mentions looking at his face for the first time, or he sees his face for the first time, and he comments on how big his ears are. Well, that would be the first time he had seen his face post regeneration. So the Eighth Doctor fought in the Time War. He didn't become the Ninth Doctor until after he left the Time War.
I
That
have
makes
some
sense.
very interesting possible spoilers. Now, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but if you are a spoiler phobe, this is the one to definitely turn your ears away from. This is the big one for the night, I think. Hopefully, and
Ooh.
this is quoted from Casterbarus.com. It is basically the fact that John Hurt has been seen taking pictures wearing a cravat, a waistcoat, some leather trousers, stuff like that, very reminiscent of some of the Doctors.
Yes.
Um, and this is the actual quote. The 50th anniversary special major guest star, legendary actor John Hurt, is going to be playing the Doctor, and not just some future or alternate Doctor, but the real Ninth Doctor, an incarnation that was somehow forgotten in the insanity of the Time War. And in case you're thinking this is all part of an absurdly elaborate screw you to Christopher Eccleston, fear not. The rumor claims that as Hurt emerges as the forgotten Ninth Doctor, Eccleston becomes the 10th, David Tennant the 11th, and Matt Smith the 12th.
So this is official.
This is not official.
Oh,
This
it's
is
not
unofficial.
Oh,
official.
But it is a very, very big rumor that is coming around right now.
that
And
is
the
that's
picture itself, he does look like he's playing a Time Lord. Go ahead.
Well,
yeah,
I
that's
think that would screw up a lot of people's cosplays, that's for sure. It would screw up a lot
for
of people's cosplays because now we'll be like,
I
oh
don't
god,
want to renumber things.
yeah, we're gonna have to renumber things and get new plaques and shit for my storage collection. No, but It's I think it would screw up a lot of things. However, if you played an alternate dimension doctor, or maybe even the Eighth Doctor who had been aged so tragically, or maybe like in the next Doctor, that episode with David Tennant where he goes to Victorian London and he finds the guy who thinks he's the Doctor, but he really isn't.
Oh,
That could be a possibility.
James, you may have hit on something. You may have hit on something because he's wearing an outfit almost similar to the Eighth Doctor's Dark Eyes costume.
Yes,
I've noticed the coat looks very, very similar, but it's not blue.
but
But the blue may have faded. So,
But here's the thing: we never see Paul McGann unbutton his shirt. So underneath, or unbutton his jacket. So, oh, I'm sorry, that was part of my fantasy coming through. Unbutton his shirt. Um, well, we never see him unbuttoning his jacket. So underneath his jacket, he could have the original vest that he wore. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, oh, I wasn't gonna say
Oh,
anything. I
uh,
just
I was gonna
talked.
say, well, I mean, even if John Hurt that whole thing is true, um, you you kind of you get that thing going on. I mean, it'll screw up a lot of cosplays for people, to screw up people's minds, that's for sure. And now we have to explain to a whole new generation why John Hurt has become the real Ninth Doctor, and Eccleston moves up, Tennant moves up, and Matt Smith moves up.
well,
Which
that's why
would
I'm
kind of
hoping that John Hurt is just an aged Eighth Doctor, a
Yeah,
very
which
that would,
aged Eighth Doctor.
which I don't understand why they would bring in John Hurt and not Paul McGann to
Very good
play.
and
point.
not just age him a little bit, because that could be completely possible, not too difficult to do, I don't think.
Yes.
I mean, it seems unnecessary to have this extra person in when it's like you have all these people to work with. Why not just, use them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even all the classic doctors that are still alive, I mean, all of them want to come back, and all of them are still revising their roles and the audio adventures.
Even
And
Tom
I
Baker
mean,
said he wanted to come back.
exactly. And if you want,
And
if they want to come back and they're offering themselves to come back, why not let them come back?
it almost feels like Moffat's just being like, well, I'm gonna write the people that I've wrote for in my tenure, Rose, Ten, and the Smith era, which is ridiculous, and it makes me want to punch him in the face.
Exactly.
We'll see where this all pans out in November, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
I guess we'll have to wait
maybe
till
in
November.
November it'll
Such a long
be
way.
all be okay.
Who
Mm,
knows? We're too far away to
Let's
tell.
But it,
let's
it
cross
seems
our let's cross our fingers and hope for the best.
it
But
just
prepare for the worst.
yeah. And it makes me sad because it's like I just want to be excited for this and be like, yay, we're gonna have this cool thing. But hearing all these terrible things that are going on just make me
Mhm,
more and more depressed
exactly.
a day. Anyway,
Well,
so let's move
yes.
on to the more
Moving on.
fun spoilers. What I definitely, this is also could be a very, very huge spoiler. So if you're just listening to this podcast, if you're a spoiler phobe, this just might not be the place for you. I'm just saying that. Now, okay, so I don't know how many people saw this. I don't know when it happened. They've wrapped filming for the 50th anniversary, by the way, apparently. This is
Yes.
like yeah. So basically what's done is done now, and we just hope that in the editing process they're able to fix whatever they screwed up. And so there there was a stunt double though, apparently in one of the later days of filming. Their pictures are just coming out of a stunt double for Jenna Louise Coleman, riding a bike. This man who it's if you can get to see the picture, it's hilarious. It's this huge big guy with this horrible wig and in these tights and this dress riding this motorbike. And apparently, and I wish I could get a better picture or better video or whatever to confirm this, but he was riding in front of these signs, and these signs had been shown before, but everybody thought they were for the docudrama. They were the signed for the Coal Hill School and for Totter's Lane, which, for anybody who's not familiar with the first Doctor's era, is Coal Hill School was where Susan Foreman, the Doctor's granddaughter, was in school before, he ran off with before they ran off with, their first companions.
Yeah,
And Totter's Lane is where they had basically parked the TARDIS on Earth for the time being
yeah.
in that first Doctor era. So
Um,
it'd be kind of nice to have it circle back around, even
you
if we
know,
don't have a lot of classic stuff.
now that we're bringing out more stuff about Coal Hill School and stuff like that, they're harkening back to the classic years, which I hope they're not becoming a classic Who slut now. But looking back at the classic stuff and seeing the name Ian Chesterton on the Coal Hill School, that is very interesting because it harkens back to one thing that Ian, after he left with the first Doctor, went back and took up his former job and became a teacher again and then became administration, which is awesome. But now we could learn what happened to Barbara, excuse me. She passed away, unfortunately. Um, which we'll find out what happened to her. We can find out what happened to Susan, even if she went back to Coal Hill School, because we know that no, she couldn't go back to Coal Hill
Yeah,
School
she
because she
was
was left in the
stuck.
future. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe we can find out all
Mm.
these other companions. Like out of all the companions to bring back, Ian's a good one.
Ace.
One, yes, let's have Sophie Aldred. Like maybe Sophie and Ian are somehow connected, like Ace and Ian. That sounds like an interesting pairing. Ace
It
and Ian.
it does.
But
Um,
maybe
go
we
ahead.
can see what happened to Ace after the seventh Doctor did whatever. But go ahead.
One more thing about John Hurt. Another rumor that is going around is that he kind of maybe pulled a master, say he was away from his TARDIS and couldn't regenerate,
Yes.
and he maybe merged with someone so that he could stay alive.
Ooh, that's
Oh, that
interesting.
that could work.
That could work very well, and then he wouldn't be the ninth Doctor, and Matt Smith wouldn't be the 12th Doctor,
Yeah.
which would be a lot
Yeah.
better.
Well, another thing is, I mean, the alternate universe Doctor, which I had mentioned earlier, that could be an extreme possibility because, I mean, Rose Tyler is coming back. So if they're going to do, I was mentioning to Alexis earlier that if the only reason they could bring back Rose Tyler is that the 50th anniversary story had to take place somewhere between the Christmas the Tennant Christmas episode that he regenerated and he was attacked by the ravaged Christmas trees and the ending where Rose Tyler gets sucked into the alternate dimension. That time span is the only legitimate time span for this story to take place. So the Doctor has not met Martha yet. The Doctor has not met Donna yet. The Doctor has not gone to all these other different planets. It's just the post regeneration Tenet is where this story will take place. So I thought that was kind of an interesting place to have a story.
It would be. What I had seen though, I I'm guessing it's most likely going to be. They're saying that it's going to be Rose after Journey's End or whatever. So parallel universe Rose, and then regular 10, not 10 clone or parallel universe 10 or whatever you prefer to call him. And I don't see how that would work.
Yeah.
But did anybody see? Because somebody pointed this out and it might be significant. Billy Piper's stunt double had tweeted or posted online a picture of her in this very strange outfit. It's almost bohemian hobo,
Yeah.
very like ratty. It makes her look like a homeless hipster. And that's the
she's
only way
she's
I can describe it.
she's harkening back to her cosmic hobo.
Yeah, it's very well, the hobo is certainly there,
but
but I don't know how. it's significant. It's like I just want answers. And
Yeah, I think
also, how
that's.
would
Go
oh,
ahead.
go on.
Oh, I was going to say, I think that's the big name of the game right now is we all want answers, and we know we're not going to get it because we're not going to get it until November.
November.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the big
Yeah.
name of the game right now.
And
Long
also,
wait.
I can see how I think James is even the one who posted this on Facebook about Freema, tweeting and saying, "Oh, I'm with Noel Clark," and
Oh yes, that I
what
did notice that on Facebook.
yeah, and
Well,
that
yeah,
apparently she's oh,
well, I mean, it's not official. She didn't say anything about the 50th anniversary, or anything like that. And working with Noel Clark, I'm sure they're both very close friends. So it could be one of
uh,
those things where people kind of assumed. But the picture was of her and of Noel Clark in black costumes, or black outfits. Noel had the black leather jacket that he's famous for, and I don't exactly remember what Frema was wearing, but it was something very close to Martha and Mickey. So,
yeah, and
although I hope to God it isn't true, but Martha and Mickey could be making a return for the 50th.
well, it could
Or
be an
Hope
not.
easy
so.
write-in since we know units coming back. I'm not saying whether this is good or bad. I'm not touching that one. But it could be just from a standpoint of would this work in the story? Well, unit's coming back, so they could easily be like, "Oh, well, Martha's working here. Everybody say hi."
Yeah, they could do
That
that. And
that would be an unfortunate circumstance. What would be cool though? What if the Doctor had went back to like 1970s unit, and they had all the old unit costumes, and maybe had like somebody stand in for Bates or Benton or even the Brigadier himself, and
That
like
would be
going
cool.
going back to classic unit, because I know, which is really strange, is that in the classic series the Doctor always seemed to come back in time sequentially to unit and to see everybody age properly, which obviously is not the case now. But I always thought it was kind of funny that the Doctor, out of all time and space, always seemed to come back to the right time and be in the right time and space to see everybody age properly. And I know the Doctor had missed the Brigadier being ill, and the Doctor had the 11th Doctor at least had to experience the death of the Brigadier. And I was reading on TARDIS Wikia, which is like the Wikipedia of Doctor Who. It's like the number one fan base kind of stuff, the fan dictionary, so to speak. And I was reading about the Brigadier, and it said that at the Brigadier's funeral, all 11 or all incarnations of the Doctor were present, which up to now that would be 11 incarnations, but there could be many more incarnations of the Doctor that were present that one day for the Brigadier's funeral, and I thought that was very interesting that all
60th anniversary, maybe?
maybe,
60th
well, by then
anniversary.
Tom Baker
Oh,
will be dead, and Peter Davison might be getting up there. I think Colin Baker might be the next one to go. I think after Tom
After
Baker
Tom,
goes.
maybe. But
I
Colin,
think
he
after
seems like
Tom
he's in
Baker, it
fine
would
health.
either be Colin or McCoy that would go next.
mm.
But knock on
Oh,
wood.
this has turned into a fun game.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's play
Who's
We're
gonna
doing
kick the bucket?
next the TARDIS death pool.
Yeah, I TARDIS
Oh
death.
God.
Like, I I don't know. I would still like to see, even if they're not gonna come back to the Doctor, maybe come back as a cameo appearance, maybe just like
Yeah,
walking the background or something like that. That would be cool.
that's
You
what I was gonna
know.
say. Have like a guy at like a coffee shop or I don't know, wherever they're at, and just or even have them. It'd be cool to have them play like a random alien somewhere, and
Well, the
just
Or
sixth
little
have
Doctor,
like
fun things like that
Colin Baker
the
did
new
play
could
the
be
character
secretary for
cool.
before.
unit or something like that.
Colin Baker
Yeah.
played the character before getting the role as the Doctor, so they could, you know, do something like that
I
maybe.
mean, Sylvester McCoy worked in a circus before he went on to become the Doctor. Tom Baker worked as a construction foreman. Peter Davison was a belly dancer, which is
What?
really weird. But
I
yes,
did not know
What?
Peter
that.
Davison, That is, I am honest to God serious. Peter Davison was a belly dancer, and during his tenure as the Fifth Doctor, in order to stay fit, he was a belly dancer on the side. So I thought that was kind of
That's
interesting.
great.
I know,
That's
right? Um, Paul McGann was, of course, an actor doing a lot of stuff. Christopher Eccleston, an actor. David Tennant, a fanboy, which is really cool. And Matt Smith was a soccer player.
yeah, I
So
did hear about that. A soccer
um,
player, for anybody who doesn't know, who got a back injury, who that allowed him to not go pro and all kinds of other stuff. And apparently it's very sad and terrible, actually, which I
it's
did not
very
know.
tragic.
Yes.
But now we can look back and say, yeah, James Hodge is going to be the next Doctor. So that'll be my fantasy.
What?
Yeah, me being the next
An
Doctor. Yeah.
American doctor.
I wish I could be
Oh,
the next Doctor.
they would eat you.
You say that like you're so sad. I want to be the next Doctor.
I
Oh.
do.
Well, never know. I think an American
I've got my
Doctor would be a
Sonic.
horrible fit. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Me and my collection of 7 different sonic screwdrivers. Thank you, you toy companies out there for selling that.
Yes, I wish
Competing.
they would sell the Sonic Lance though. That's what I want.
Yes, the Sonic Lance, Romana sonic screwdriver.
Sarah Jane's Sonic lipstick.
Sarah. Well, they did sell that, but after
Did
Sarah
they?
Jane passed away,
Oh.
they stopped selling it. So, which is
Really? I didn't know
yes,
that.
They don't sell the second Doctor Sonic screwdriver.
which is a sonic
It's
pen,
it's just a
basically. You
pen light.
can
I bought a pen light in case I decided to do a second Doctor costume.
Which also, interestingly enough, the Seventh Doctor also had the pen light Sonic. He used it in the Happiness Patrol,
Right, he did. I remember that now.
which is yes, actually, I showed you. I think I
Yeah,
showed you a clip about
you
it.
did
Yeah,
because yeah, and
yeah.
in the TV movie he also had the fourth
The
and several other Sonic
it,
screwdrivers.
it was a recolored fourth, fifth
Yeah,
Doctor Sonic screwdriver, which is very interesting.
considering the
Well,
fifth
we
Doctor
are
just melted
yes. Well, I thought
All
it was
right.
stepped on or
or
something like that.
something like
But
that. It
we
was
are
disfigured.
we are nearing the end of our wonderful hour here with the three of us.
We
So,
are.
um,
We are, yes.
what we have
So
traditionally done
it's
in the past is asked each other kind of a closing question and thought what we said. So, do you guys have any awesome closing questions and kind of see where that leads us?
let's see. I have a closing question. Let's try to keep this to a short conversation because I have a feeling it could get out of hand, but I like the question.
Well, when you
What
have windbags like me on the team, yeah, anything can get out of hand quickly.
if you could only do one thing as the showrunner, what would you do? And no, I'm not going to start.
I'll start. Story arcs. My God,
Oh, why
bring
did I
back the
know that was
story
coming?
arcs. It would allow them to flesh out the episodes a little bit more, get them. I don't know, just make the episodes not feel so rushed. Cliffhangers. They could bring back cliffhangers with the story
Exactly.
arcs. That would be great. Next.
Or or like I was talking to James just to bounce off what you said, before we started, it's like, okay, maybe not even story arcs, but at least two-parters or something. Just
Yeah, because wait, I
it
was
was something
feeling
would
that
help.
a lot of these episodes, we've mentioned that we feel like they're ending too quickly. We feel like they're packing a lot of stuff in this one 40-minute episode, and it's not ending satisfyingly enough for all of us. So I thought maybe don't feel bad doing a two-part episode, and like some of the best episodes I thought in my mind were two-part episodes, like Silence in the Library and the Empty Child. So
Also, oh God, what was that one called? Journey's End
yes.
and The End of Time was incredible, I thought.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly. So,
okay, so as
do you want me to
I
go
guess,
or do you want to go?
well, you can go because I'm still thinking about it.
Okay. Okay, because I got the best answer now. Okay, so the next companion is just gonna be just a guy, just a bro. There's not gonna be no offense to the ladies, because I am a lady, I understand.
Yes.
Just a guy, not just a straight guy who's like, I don't want to touch you, bro.
Well,
Oh
I
Just
no,
who can
don't
hang
bring any
out.
bros.
interestingly enough, we were
No,
just talking about
well,
this
not a
weekend.
bro. No,
Yeah. we were
Not
just
that
talking
kind of
about.
bro. No fist pumping, but
Let's go kegging, bro.
Interestingly enough, we were just talking about this weekend, and I had said the same thing. Somebody had asked me, "What would you think if the Doctor had regenerated into a woman, and they had a male
I would.
companion instead of a female companion?" And I said, "I don't think it'll work because one, Doctor Who has based itself off of having a strong male character and having a strong male center point. And although at the risk of sounding sexist, I don't think the Doctor could regenerate into a woman and successfully go on to be a TV show. Um, and another thing, bringing back a male companion, there would be a lot of fandom like Sherlock currently has, where we're kind of questioning the relationship and the sexual orientation of both
Uh,
John Watson and Sherlock himself.
Thanks,
But
internet.
yeah, I know. Thank you, Rule 34. But I would love to see a strong male companion come back. Like Jamie, he was a strong male companion that survived with the Doctor for, oh God, I think at least 2 years. So I mean, or even 1 year. But even then, I thought it was a fantastic companionship. So
No,
okay, sorry to windbag on your question
no,
or
it's
your
okay.
answer.
This is just to bounce off what you said again, because I understand your point, and maybe I only feel the opposite because I have a vagina, so I feel strongly about this. That I think it could work with the right lady. I think the problem would be just getting over that hump of what is a woman? It has breastises.
Mm.
What is this? Like, I think once they got over the initial hump, and if they had a good actress and good writing, I think it could be okay just after the initial shock.
Yes.
I
I completely agree with
That's
you.
just my personal
Well,
feeling.
Well, I would say if I were to change something about the show, and it would have to be one thing, I would go for an older doctor because I feel like, using that older commodity, having the doctor regenerate into something older instead of something younger, it would just show the maturity level, and it would lead into the Valyard being exposed, the Doctor being more mature, being and they could do a whole hell load of things with it. I mean, they could have the Doctor angsty because he's regenerated into an older person, and having an older person trying to act young and not coming off as you know, quite as well as they thought it would be, or having something unusual about the Doctor because I was just thinking about this the other day. Out of all the classic Doctors, 9, 10, 11 do not have something specific that sets them apart from any other, person. I mean, you got the first Doctor who's old and grumpy, second Doctor who's kind of the cosmic hobo, third Doctor with the ruffles and the bouffant, the fourth Doctor with a scarf, fifth Doctor with celery, sixth Doctor with his coat, seventh Doctor with the question marks, eighth Doctor with the Victorian steampunk kind of thing. 9, 10, 11 don't have that one thing that sets them apart. I mean, the trench coat makes sense. The leather coat, kind of okay. Bow ties are cool. Getting really old fast.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe,
red
some.
Converse for the 10th.
Well, I mean, that's kind
I've
of
got my
it's
pair.
okay, but I mean, not really setting apart from anything else. But I just want to see an older Doctor. I think that would probably
Yeah.
work better.
Like I said, if they
Okay.
do
Yeah.
choose to do
Okay.
a well-known actor, I definitely think Alan Rickman. But
Yes,
personal opinion.
Alan Rickman. Hello, I'm the Doctor, and Professor Snape. Deal with me. I think that would be
Okay.
perfect. So,
He was also in Dogma, if you remember.
yeah, that was a great movie. Okay,
All
so
right.
I guess moving on to
Oh,
Scott, your turn.
Uh, what was the question again?
Well,
you
I just
no,
any
we already
question.
he already
Oh,
answered.
Oh,
He
okay,
already answered.
Alexis, your
His
question or
My
whoever.
answer.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm so
So who's
No,
asking the
oh,
question
okay.
next? Yes, me or
Okay,
you?
Scott's turn to ask a question unless James has one that he needs to
I
ask right now.
I don't have a question.
I don't have a question either.
So I think that's a perfect note to end on. Story arcs, bros, and I don't mean Jersey Shore bros. I just mean guys.
Guy
There
bro.
can't be no fist pumping and fist pumping in hot tubs. No.
Keggers. Just yeah,
Oh,
have like a 17-year-old traveling with a doctor,
oh
drink
God.
every day.
Oh
have a
God.
companion like Ace or something like that, you know. All right. Well, thank you guys for
All right.
listening to our
Well, thanks.
podcast, and we appreciate all of your fans, or all of our fans, actually. Well, your fans too. We appreciate them too.
We
Um,
appreciate everybody.
we
Everybody's
appreciate everybody
special.
here
Even
at
people
Mad
we
Fans
don't
of the
like.
Podcast. And I looking forward to next week after we see A Nightmare in Silver, and looking forward to seeing what adventures lie in store for the Name of the Doctor.
Yep. And I hope it'll tie in beautifully to the 50th. And I hope it'll end. I hope and I don't hope it'll end on a cliffhanger. Because if it does, we'll be waiting forever.
Oh, it's
Yes.
gonna end on a cliffhanger. It's a series
Yeah.
finale.
Oh
Always
yes.
end on
Right.
cliffhangers.
Well,
So,
thank you. All right. Are
Thank
you
you
gonna wrap it up?
guys.
Me, you?
yep.
What?
Thank you,
Huh?
listeners. And we'll see you next week. If you go to Mad Fans with the Podcast on Facebook, you can get in touch with us and tell us what you
And
like, what you don't
and
like. Tell us why you
and we
hate
do take
us.
requests. We will be taking requests for what you guys want to hear, and that'll help influence what our podcast will be.
Yeah. So
All
if
right.
there's something you want us to talk about or have a cool idea, just let us know and we'll take it definitely into consideration. So
I
see
have
you
a
next
thought.
week.
An episode entirely dedicated to the Sixth Doctor.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Now
okay.
The
that we're closing
least,
out,
the least rated
we'll
episode of all time.
we'll pick it
Okay,
up
well,
next
we'll
week.
talk about
All
this
right.
once we leave.
Yeah.
But thank you once again.
Yep. Good
And
Bye
night,
now.
everybody.
good night.
Night.